What was your first reaction when you saw that they had Cutco? Were you like, oh, what do I sell? Kind of, kind of spooked. You were like, what do I do? What do I do?
This is actually what the was, and we just started talking about that for like 5 minutes straight.
Nice. Okay. That's, which is great. That's awesome.
Big help from Patrick in training. I don't remember what it was exactly, but you went over what to do. Somebody already had something.
Gifts and accessories.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that really helped me.
that's good.
Yeah. That's
good.
one thing to talk about. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I actually had to auto wrap because the customer, for whatever reason, didn't inform me that I could get Cutco until they started dropping down, so I didn't inform them how to jump.
Oh, to like,
Yeah.
so funny. Yeah. Oh, definitely always ask if they have Cutco, like when you get there, just be like, hey, by the way, like, do you have any Cutco, by the way? Like, where are we in our knowledge of Cutco? And sometimes they'll say, I've never heard of it before. And you're like, all right, cool, game on. I almost exclusively work with people that own Cutco now. So I will only work with new people that I get referred to, which is amazing. I love working with new Cutco owners. That's so fun. But I almost exclusively work with people that own Cutco. And it's wonderful. I love meeting somebody that has a homemaker. So of the demos that you guys did, have you guys shown up and seen a homemaker? Yeah. And were you like,
Saw a gal, yeah.
yeah, okay, cool. And was the first reaction kind of like freaked out? Like you're like, oh my gosh.
I was sad they didn't.
I was really nice.
Okay, relieved. Okay, that's great. Yeah, okay. So Cutco owners are the best clients because they already know the product, they love the product, and they see that we're still in business, right? And they're obsessed with it. Like, as you know, if you've talked to Cutco owners, they're like, oh my gosh, I love my Cutco.
They're addicted.
They're addicted, and it's a great addiction. And so we're gonna talk about what to do. We're gonna kind of be doing an upgrade, but we're gonna be talking about like what to do when you show up to somebody's house and they have something like a galley, a homemaker. Of course, there are people that have smaller sets. So a couple things we want to do. So when I see, first of all, like if I kind of, everybody's approach to their clients is a little bit different. Mine, if we haven't picked up on it, is a little more like I joke around with them. I'm very like light and airy with them, and I'm not afraid to like make jokes with them. But that's me. So you have to find your own thing. And so one thing I'll do is if they have anything smaller than a galley, I'll say something like, oh, you have our like college student set.
Oh, that's so good.
And so I'll just be like, wait, you've been cooking with this for all these years? Oh my gosh, you don't even know. Like this is what my sister has and she's 20. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. All right, we're going to change your life today, right? And if they have like a homemaker or a galley, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So you kind of have our like basics. And so how I talk about the homemaker and the galley is I basically say, okay, so this has been our basic set since 1949. We have not changed the contents of this set for 75 years. And I'm sure that you've noticed. So then what I do is can I like curse a little?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you like don't. So I kind of like talk shit about the homemaker a little bit. I know, it's crazy. I know. It's a different approach. I know. So I basically am like, okay, so have you noticed that you're kind of just using a couple of the smaller pieces? Like you're probably using your trimmer. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, is your trimmer your favorite knife? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, yeah, I thought so. Okay. So you're loving your trimmer. You maybe use your paring knife. Have you noticed how dull it gets like so quickly?
So small.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
then I go like,
gosh.
have you noticed how quickly it gets dull? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm like,
I could be your Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
oh yeah. Okay,
I
cool,
love
right,
this.
amazing.
And
then I'll go, okay, so you maybe use your carver for some of your medium-sized fruits, veggies, meat, right? And then are you using your spreader?
I don't even know what to use it for.
You don't even know what to use it for.
I don't.
Okay, before I even show you the new stuff, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm gonna help you get more use out of what you already have.
Oh, write that
So I do
down.
that.
Oh,
So I
I'm going
build
to
value,
help you get
value stacking.
use out of what you already have.
Yeah, so that's one thing I do is I don't like, as I'm kind of talking it down, I'm also building some other pieces up. So a lot of people don't know what to do with their spreader. I see this all the time. I'm teaching this to my clients every time they come in. And then now they use the spreader all the time. So I basically go, oh my gosh, it's gonna be like having a new knife, but you've had it this whole time. You're gonna be like hitting yourself over the head, like, what have I been doing? And so then I just go through the spreader. So I say, oh my gosh, okay, the spreader is my carb knife. And then now I do want to ask them, do you guys like eat sandwiches? Do you guys ever do like casserole, lasagna? And if they say yes, no, if they say that they do not eat gluten, then I am not harping on the sandwich thing. So I'm asking a lot of questions about what type of cooking that they do, what types of foods that they eat. I ask if there's do they have any restriction, like dietary restrictions? And then, I'll say to them, like, I don't want to, I'm not even going to talk, like, if you don't eat meat, I'm not even going to talk about the meat knives. Really, I just reframe them. And so I'll say, are you guys avocado people?
Oh, yes.
And so I ask that all the time, are you avocado people? And when they say yes, I go, have you used the spreader for avocado? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm very dramatic. Like, I'll be like, oh my gosh. Okay. Thank God I'm here right now. Thank God you had me over today. Okay. So the avocado, that was bad. That wasn't bad.
It's in the Bible.
That was pretty mild. For me. So avocado, I'll cut. Do you guys know this? You'll cut around the avocado with the sharp side, flip it over to the non-sharp side, and I'll touch the back of the spreader and then section it and scoop it out.
I do that in training
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You tried, you didn't have an avocado.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Your training last week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll say this is my avocado and my carb knife. So I'll use this for casserole, lasagna, quiche, cake, pie, brownies, sandwiches, PB&J. If you're making a sandwich, you can cut your tomato, cut your avocado, spread your mayo, cut the sandwich in half, just have one knife. So I'm like listing so many things, right? All for the spreader.
My spatula,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, everything. So so that way they're like getting built up about stuff that they already have. Like they're getting excited about something they already have, right? The other things I'm going, okay, you love your paring knife. Have you noticed how dull it gets so quickly? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, I'll circle back to that. And your trimmer, you're loving your trimmer. Okay, cool. And your petite carver, I'm sure you're using that. Okay. And then, I mean, how often are you guys slicing bread at home? And I would ask them that. And sometimes it's all the time, and then you leave it and you just go, okay, cool. So you're using your bread knife a lot. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, all right. But most of the time, they're like, never. And you're like, yeah. So you're not really slicing bread. How many times are you guys carving like hams and turkeys every year? Like once or twice a year? Yeah. How are you guys butchering pigs and chickens like super often? And they're like, not really. And you're like, okay. So if you've noticed, you're probably just using a couple of your smaller knives, right, in the set, and then your table knives. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, cool. So there's a reason for that. We have not changed what's in this set for 75 years. And I'm sure you've noticed cooking styles have changed over 75 years. We're not baking bread has made its way back, but we're not baking our own bread as much. And oftentimes people are going to the butcher and getting all of their meat prepared. So they're not having to do that. So there's a reason why you're only using a couple of your smaller knives. And so this is our traditional collection. This is our original collection. And what I'm so excited to show you is our new customer requested collection.
Oh, write that down. New customer collected selection. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah. So this is our new customer requested selection. So this collection of knives have all come from customer requests from what we didn't originally make. So all of these newer knives that I'm going to show you are filling in the gaps from what the homemaker doesn't have, or what your set, it doesn't matter what set, but what your set doesn't have. So these newer knives, they're not duplicating what you have, they're filling in gaps. And so then you're talking about a couple favorites right off the bat. The first one that gets the most like, oh, reaction, 4-inch paring
I
knife.
knew it.
So easy, right? 4-inch paring knife, because you go, have you ever thought that your paring knife, like, have you realized that your paring knife is just like a little too short? And they're like, yeah, like every time. Very occasionally, they're like, oh, it's perfect size. And you're like, okay, great. Great. So you love your paring knife. Here's another one. So I'm like, you know how it dulls pretty quickly and it's kind of short, like you can't get all the way across apples and oranges and cucumbers. And they're like, yeah. And you go, well, this is, as you can see, one of our customer requested knives. This is our 4-inch paring knife, because this one, the reason why it's getting so dull so fast is because it has such a short blade. And I don't know if you knew this, but you're really not supposed to be using this on the cutting board. Are you sectioning like celery and potatoes on the cutting board? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, okay, we're not doing that after I leave. I'll know if you're doing it. I'll get like, my body will start shaking and I'll be like, oh my gosh,
You'll feel it in
April
your
is
bones.
using this on the cutting board. And you're like messing with that,
Oh,
right? But,
April.
so then I'm going, yeah, so this is actually just supposed to be used in the air. This is getting tops off of strawberries. This is peeling skin off of potatoes and carrots. This is peeling skin off of mangoes and kiwis. What this knife is for is this one is a little bit longer, so you can actually make slices of your apples, oranges, mango, kiwi, lemon, lime,
Bell peppers.
any of those things.
Bell peppers.
Bell pepper, I guess. I so don't use it for peppers at all.
Oh, I
Um,
can pass it down.
But fair. But yeah, okay, so 4-inch paring knife. So that's because that one they get on board. They can see it right away. You go, and then you can even ask them at the end of that. Can you go, like, you can say something like, can you see why this was customer requested? Like, this was top of our list. This was one of the first from our newest collection. So there's that guy, right? And then I love talking about the other choppers. Have you guys like, okay, so I do actually enjoy cooking a lot. And so do you guys have 5-inch Santoku?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, have you guys discovered the 5-inch Santoku?
It's one of their fast.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. All right, the 5-inch is amazing. Okay, because most people in their homemaker have a French chef. And I love when they have a French chef because I don't like that knife. It's the only knife I don't own. So I don't like that knife. It's so long. It's an OJ, it's the OJ knife. So this one is so long. And so I love when they have it and when you have a 5-inch, because you go, okay, have you ever picked up this knife and you're just chopping a carrot? And you're like, this is a huge knife to chop a carrot. And they're like, yeah. You go, yeah. So you hand them the 5-inch and you can even compare. I always compare the handles and I say, you can see that the handle is actually smaller on the 5-inch. And you can see that it's so much lighter. And you hand it to them and they're like, oh yeah. And so you go, so this one is the one that you're using on a daily basis when you're doing celery, carrots, peppers, onions, garlic, mushrooms, herbs, right? And the awesome thing about this knife is because that tip drops down, you can section your food. So you can take that down the middle of celery and then you can chop it into smaller pieces. You can section like green onions, you can section peppers a lot. You can do pepper strips a lot easier. And they're like, yeah, okay, I love this, right? So it's kind of taking them from, I wasn't going to buy anything, they're here just to show me, to, oh, this actually, like, this does make sense. This does fill in gaps in my set, right? So you have that one. And then I always let people know, so chef knives and paring knives. Oh my God. Okay, all right, we're okay. I stepped so far back. Okay, so chef knives and paring knives. So I tell them, okay, so we have multiple styles of chef and paring knives because those are the two most used knives in the kitchen, a chef knife and a paring knife. And so you'll notice we have a handful of different styles. And I always say to them, we have 6 pairs. You do not need 6 paring knives. I'm not going to turn you away if you want all of them. I'm just going to tell you right now, you probably don't need them. So I take little moments to kind of like almost talk myself down from, like, because if I'm sitting there going, you need all 6 paring knives, people are going to kind of look at you like, oh, you're just trying to sell, like you're just saying anything, right? And so I like to get real with my clients and be like, you don't need 6 paring knives. Like pick your favorite, you know? And so I go, most people have a couple at their house and they just pick their favorite styles. So that could be your 4-inch paring knife. People love the bird's beak. My joke about the bird's beak is I stick it up my sleeve and I slash people with it. And you can use it as self-defense. I love the 3-inch gourmet. That's a great one. The 4-inch gourmet, I don't talk about that ever. I literally never talk about that. I'm like, it's a 4-inch paring knife. I talked to Jim Stitt for 45 minutes and I said, Jim, are we done with the paring knives? And he was like, that was my dad's thing. We're done with the paring knives. I swear. And I was like, Jim, enough with the paring knives. I don't talk about the 4-inch. I love it in my house, but I don't talk about it. So there's a couple, yeah, they were getting a boob shot. Okay, sorry. So and then I'll talk about the different styles of chef knives. Okay, so we have our traditional chef styles, which are these two, right? So you have your traditional styles of chef knives. These are your rock and chop chef knives, right? And then we have our Santoku styles. We have our 5-inch and we have our 7-inch, which is, don't have a 7-inch? Okay, no problem. So we have a 5 and we have a 7. I tell people they're a his and hers. I say, depending on who's the primary person that cooks. If I usually have them hold both, obviously when you don't have them. But the 5-inch, so the 7-inch handle is a little bit bigger than the 5-inch. And I say, everybody's different. Traditionally, what I've found is most of my female clients prefer the 5-inch because our hands are smaller. And so we like having a smaller knife. Whereas most of my men who are the cooks, they are really liking the 7-inch. And so I'm like catering to who is cooking. If I'm talking to a husband who's cooking, I'm going, you might like the 5-inch, you'll probably like the 7. And then if the wife is the one that is cooking the most often, I say the opposite. I go, you might like the 7-inch, but most of my clients really like the 5 because it's a lot smaller. And then I go veggie knife style. So then and then we have our veggie knife style. We have 3 different sizes of this. Oh my God, I keep talking. I'm gonna wrap this up. Okay. So then we have 3 different sizes of this. We have our larger style. This is 7.5 inches. The nice thing about this is because it's squared off, when you're pushing down on something tough, you don't feel like you're gonna stab yourself. And then you have a big surface area to first of all, you can line a lot more veggies up and chop them that way. And then you have a bigger surface area to scoop everything up and transfer it into the pot or the pan or the plate. Bunch of P words. And then we have the 4-inch vegetable knife. Have you guys I love the 4-inch I've been selling so many of them. It's an amazing knife. And that one, I basically am just like, this is the smallest chef knife that we have. I love this for when I'm not doing a big meal prep, but I'm just doing snacks and salad. And people get that, right? Garlic, yeah, smaller stuff. When I'm not doing, a huge meal for the family, but I'm just prepping stuff for lunches or I'm prepping stuff for breakfast, whatever it is. So there's that guy. And then a couple little quick ones as well. Then I'll go to something like the boning knife, which is somewhere yonder. Nope. Nope. Slicer. Okay. So then we have the boning knife. This one I love. So this one is in between the sizes of the trimmer and the petite carver. And it's not serrated and it's flexible. So basically what I tell clients is, have you ever noticed when you're cutting raw meat that it gets stuck in the serration and you're kind of like dragging through the meat? And they're like, yeah. And I go, okay. So that's why we came out with a boning knife. So this one is so specific. As you know, your trimmers, your paring knives, your veggie knives, those can cover a lot of different foods. This is so specific because it's so good at what it does. This is the boning knife. This is for raw meat and fish, chicken, pork, steak, getting a fat off of meat off the bone, skin off the fish. And we have tested the trimmer, which I know is your favorite knife. And this knife cuts 5 times faster on raw meat because it's what it's designed to do. And then also start bringing in analogies. I bring in analogies all the time. I go, it's kind of like putting on your blush with an eyeshadow brush. Or like if you're talking to somebody and you go, it's kind of like putting with your driver or drilling something with your hammer. And you're like, you could do it, but it doesn't make any sense. That's what I tell. I'll use analogies of tools, golf clubs, and makeup brushes because those people understand. And so then I go, you can do it. It just doesn't make any sense, right? And so this tool is specifically designed for your raw meat, right? And then another favorite, I don't talk about the petite slicer at all. I love the petite slicer. For me, it's a small bread knife. It just so transparent. Yeah, it just, I don't even do it in the upgrade. I pick a different knife. Like I do,
The sound trimmer?
no, not even that. I don't know. I'll just pick a different one that they like. I let people pick. And then I think this is what probably the last one I'll talk about tonight because it's probably like drinking from a fire hose. I haven't even talked about the cheese knife or the Hardy slicer. I'm obsessed with them, but you guys know.
Both of those you all guide, you all.
You guys get, right?
Hardy
People like,
slicer.
people are obsessed with it. What I say about the cheese knife is to clients that don't have it, I say, this is our current bestseller. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because this is, yeah, duh, you can use it for cheese, but this is incredible on potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, lemons, limes, the smaller cheese knives. I'll say cherry tomatoes, red potatoes, charcuterie boards. So, and then obviously you can cut potatoes with them all day, right? So cheese knife, that's so easy. You guys get that. Hardy slicer, I say that it basically is like your trimmer on steroids. So it's your trimmer on steroids. It's your trimmer that, like, if you've ever cut food and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna snap my knife in half. That's what your Hardy slicer's for. So the steel, I point out how much thicker the steel is and the weight of it. And I say that is a good thing. So I'll say, yeah, you can tell it's a lot heavier. The steel is a lot thicker, and that's because it's the weight of it is really helping you push through tough foods like sectioning meats and then doing oh, perfect. And then doing sweet potato, beets, jicama, acorn squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, like all of those like fall, those tougher like fall veggies. Okay, I'm obsessed with this knife. I have been selling so much more of this because I'm obsessed with it. Anything that you're obsessed with, you will sell. Like you just have to be in love with something and then that enthusiasm transfers and then your clients get it. Yeah, now people have the value. Okay. I love this knife and I don't call it the salmon knife at all because people are like, I don't need a knife for salmon. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. So I pull this out and if you don't have it, that totally makes sense. But if you're pointing in a picture of it, you can say it looks like your bread knife, right? So I'll say, it looks like your bread knife. It's not. It's not serrated and it's flexible. And so what you do with this knife, and I say, do you ever cut watermelon, cantaloupe, pineapple, honeydew? And they'll go, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so you know how annoying those are to cut? And they're like, yeah, we don't even buy them because of that. And I go, yeah, okay, just wait. So with this knife, when you're cutting a watermelon, you're cutting all the way across. Now, most people are using the knives that they just have in their set already. So most people are using something like this. The reason that doesn't work is because it's really rigid and you're basically just So I'm really painting a picture for them. So I say, you're basically just stabbing your watermelon. And then because it's so wide and thick, the juices are suctioning to it. And now you're fighting with the watermelon on the counter and you're like, this is miserable. I'm never doing this again, right? So with this, that's not happening. So this one, super flexible, you're able to get all the way across. And because it's so thin, it's gliding right through. All the juices are not suctioning to it. And then you're able to scoop that off the rind. So easy. And then I show them a video. So I took a video of myself doing it and then I show them just on the spot because most people don't believe
send
me.
it to me, I'll put it in my WhatsApp.
Yeah. It's on my Instagram. So I can send you that. So then I just say, then you scoop it off the rind and I go, it's stupid easy. This is like your favorite summer knife. And then I say, do you guys ever cut really delicate meats like flank steak, brisket, ham, salmon, prosciutto, jerky? When you're giving food examples, I give so many food examples because I want something to click. I don't know what's going to click, but I want them to be like, okay, there's so many things, right? And so I go, this is like a deli slicer. This gets a really thin slice of those delicate meats without shredding them. So you're getting that nice thin slice of flank steak, right? You can do your ham, you can do your brisket, you can do those boneless meats. And you can section those. And so that's what I'm using for that. And so you're getting people super hype about that. And then it's a super easy transition to the upgrade. So you're basically talking about what knives what are the newer customer requested knives. And at the end of that, you can see like, you can say something like, yeah, can you see why over the past 75 years, we've had requests for these kind of things? Like you're making it so obvious, right? And then you're going, I'm sure one thing you're thinking in your head, because even if you don't see yourself using all of them, I'm sure one thing you're thinking is, where would I put these, right? And so then you basically say, we have this upgrade program. And basically what we do is you keep everything you have. You don't rebuy anything. You keep what you have and we put you into a larger Cutco garage and then we fill it in with what you would use. And then you just go from there. And then you can do wish list style where you're like, okay, I know I showed you so many things. Let's go through, okay, what of the knives would you actually, like, would you get use of over your lifetime? And then sometimes I'll slide something in like, even if you're only using something 4 times a year, how many times are you using it over your lifetime? Like, how many times is this coming in handy, right?
Oh,
So many people have like a crystal bowl that they use once every 2 years, right? Like, you know, these are knives. They're using them all the time. And so then you're filling in their block. You're basically, you can wish list it, you can fill in their block. And then so I ask them, because I'll go through everything. We'll go through the knives and then I'll go through the gadgets. I'll go cookware, I'll go flatware, I'll go wellness mats. And then as I am wish listing with them, I go section by section. I don't say like, okay, what's everything that you liked? I go, okay, let's go back to the knives. Which of these knives do you really like? Do you see yourself using over time? And then we're doing that, right? And then I go, okay, now let's go to gadgets. Are there any like Target or Walmart gadgets that are just like not making you happy that we need to replace? And we're doing that, right? And then it's like, okay, do we want to talk about cookware? Like, are we looking at flatware? Or are we in the mood to replace those? Are we in the place to replace those? And then wellness mats. And then you're pricing everything out as a bundle. And then you go from there. And talking about blocks too, blocks are not cheap, as you guys may have gathered. I don't know if you
it's
know.
like 450.
Yeah, it's
the
like,
ulti block.
it's like $500.
Yeah.
And so this is what I say. So I'll basically say, look, a block is not your most fun Cutco purchase. Let's be so for real. I know it's not your most fun. But it's like your Cutco garage. Like if you had a Tesla or Ferrari, are you parking it on the street? No. Like you're parking it in a garage, right? Because it's protecting it, it's keeping it safe long term, and it's a buy once and then it's a one and done. And then I say, and the nice thing is when we're bundling it with everything else you're looking at, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna hook you up with something special. So, you know, it's not gonna be like, I'm like, I get it. I know that this isn't the most fun thing, but it's kind of like, yeah, but that's where they're stored. So, and then I'll basically say like, this is an investment. I mean, these aren't cheap knives. This is an investment and you want to protect that. Like you don't want to just throw them in your drawer where the knives are hitting each other and then they're nicking the blades over time. Like, of course, our guarantee covers that, but you don't want to keep having to routinely send them back to the factory every year because your knives are like hitting each other, right? You're kind of just like, you're saying things that make it so obvious, right? You're like, yeah, like this makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a situation I ran into.
Yeah.
Talking to an older couple who were like kind of skeptical, like, we're old, our kids are grown, why
Yeah.
do we need more stuff, right?
Yeah.
Notice that they're kind of like fine china collectors. You can see that they're those type of people,
Yeah.
little figurines. Ask them, how often do you use your fine china? Christmas, Thanksgiving. I'm not asking you to buy more fine china. I'm asking you to buy something that is going to A, last, and B, that you're going to use and looks great with every meal, not just one.
Yeah.
And that kind of changed their thinking. They
Yeah.
actually were like, you know what, can we kind of go look back at that galley set? We're
Yeah.
ready to like actually buy, but they wanted to kind of go back and start looking through it. gained interest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will definitely point some of those things out. I also make sure with your tone to not go on the attack, like make sure
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but be careful, like when you're calling, cause I totally will call customers out, but I'm like smiling and I'm like making it fun, right? And I'm like, how often are you using this China, right? Like this, I mean, are you, and I'll kind of mess around with them and I'll go, so do you guys still eat every day or are we like done? And they'll be like, oh, no, we're eating it every yeah. So the cool thing about this is you're gonna use these every day. And then after, and I always overestimate, if they're like 70, I'm like, you're gonna use these every day for the next 20, 30 years. And then because of our guarantee, you can pass them down to your kids and grandkids. And they'll have the same guarantee. So basically, this is a gift for your kids. You just get to use it for 20 years. And then that kind of like reframes it. So, but yeah, I love that point of like saying something like, hey, yeah, this isn't like a, I don't know.
And
It's
purchase.
Yeah, this is, you're using it,
Beautiful.
reminding people like, you're cutting food every day, right?
This isn't another thing to put on the mantle and forget.
Right,
Yeah.
this isn't like a trophy. Yeah.
cool.
Amazing.
Let's
Yeah.
give her a round of applause.
Okay,
Um,
I did not use the whiteboard at all.
That's
I already
okay.
said the thing.
That's
Um,
okay. Raise your hand if you got some good takeaways from that, some good value.
Amazing.
I